नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। So welcome dear devotees to this special presentation on the joyous waves of Srila Rupa Goswami's poetry. It is Vaishnav culture to glorify the audience. Without glorifying the audience, it is not possible that we will get the blessings of the audience to begin speaking on a topic pertaining to Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Rupa Goswami was always insistent on glorifying the audience. Dear devotees, I'd like to begin with a verse composed by Sri Rupa Goswami describing all of you. Would you like to hear a verse describing all of you, dear devotees? So here is Sri Rupa Goswami's verse which describes all of you. Welcome, dear devotees. Sri Rupa Goswami is evoking the imagery of an ocean under the full moon. Dear devotees, please keep this image in your heart and kindly sing the verse by Sri Rupa Goswami. This verse is in the meter Shikharini, same meter as Jagannath Ashtakam. I'll try to sing, please repeat after me. गभीरोऽप्यश्रान्तं दुरधिगमपारोऽपिनितराम् अहार्यां मर्यादां दददपि हरेरास्पदमपि सतां स्तोमप्रेमण्युदयति समग्रे स्थगयितुम् विकारं न स्फारं जलनिधिर्वेन्दौ प्रभवति Sri Rupa Goswami says, look at the ocean. There are so many wonderful qualities in the ocean. I will list one by one all these qualities. Please tell me if these qualities are present within the ocean. Gabhiro, the ocean is very deep. Yes or no? Yes. Ashrantam, but it is always a little disturbed and turbulent. Yes? Duradhigama paro. It is difficult to reach the other side of the ocean on your own. Aharyam maryadam. Although the ocean is so huge, it usually does not cross over its boundaries. It maintains its boundaries. Yes? Hare Aspadamapi. Dear devotees, the ocean is the residence of Lord Hari. Bhagavan Vishnu stays within the ocean. Everybody agrees? Yes. Satam stomah premanyudayati samagre sthagayitum. But when the full moon arises over the ocean is unable to maintain its boundaries. It overflows and crosses over onto the shore. Everybody agrees? Dear devotees, not only is the ocean like this, all of your hearts are also the same. The hearts of the Vaishnavas, Gabhira, aren't the hearts of the Vaishnavas as deep as the ocean? Say yes or no? Not for yourself, say for the other Vaishnavas. Yeah? The hearts of the Vaishnavas are deep, yes or no? Yes. Ashrantam, they are a little turbulent due to separation from Sri Krishna. Duradhigama paro, it is difficult to reach the other side, to find out the deepest secrets of the hearts of the Vaishnavas. Aharyam maryadam, usually the hearts of the devotees maintain fixed boundaries of Vaidhi Bhakti and they do not break these boundaries. Yes. Hare Aspadamapi, and the hearts of the devotees are the choicest place of residence of Sri Hari. But, dear devotees, when the full moon like Krishna Chandra arises and makes his presence manifest within the hearts of the Vaishnavas, these Vaishnavas are often unable to maintain their boundaries of Vaidhi Bhakti. They enter into the path of Raganuga Bhakti and then their hearts spill over and they start crying out of love, dear devotees. Dear devotees, all of your hearts are exactly like the ocean. And I am very grateful that all of you are present here today. Welcome, dear devotees, to Sri Rupa Goswami's poetry. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami says, I am compiling a literature. And this literature is named Padyavali. Almost 500 years ago, Sri Rupa Goswami is sitting under a Kadamba tree in Sri Vrindavan. He has no hopes of becoming a published author in his lifetime. He is writing on a manuscript, and there is no guarantee that the manuscript will survive for another 100 years. There are no hopes of publishing books in thousands and millions. A handful of sadhus stay in Vrindavan. But for those handful of sadhus who are near and dear to him, Sri Rupa Goswami is compiling his choicest set of verses in the Padyavali. Dear devotees, this particular compilation was written without any motivations for gaining anything for the self. There was nothing to gain back then, especially in Vrindavan. There was a price on the head of every sadhu. There was Mughal rule going on in India. And if you would bring the severed head of a sadhu, with a tilak, you would get 2 gold coins from the Mughal king. Yeah, Aurangzeb was later. Previous to him, there were other marauders. So there was a prize, a bounty of 2 gold coins on the severed head of any sadhu. In this environment, Sri Rupa Goswami is compiling Sri Padyavali. When we read the writings of Sri Rupa Goswami, we never come to know about the circumstances in which he was compiling this literature. Today we have thousands and thousands of copies of the literature of Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Krishna ensured that this literature survives the test of time. And not only does it survive the test of time, but it is also available in thousands and thousands of copies to all the devotees around the world. There is lack of paper for writing down verses. Sri Rupa Goswami has to beg for paper from some of the merchants. It is ironical. In those days there was a lot to write, but there was no paper. And today there is a lot of paper. But no new songs or verses are composed. In this environment, Sri Rupa Goswami is compiling his literature Padyavali, and he will not let any anxiety of his generation come down to the next generation. He will make sure that he passes on only the positivity of his generation to us. You will never see Rupa Goswami complaining, the other devotees around me were not behaving nicely, and I had so many problems in my life, and I had to leave my family, and I was serving the Islamic king Nawab Hussain Shah for so many years. None of this you will find in his writings. Only all the wonderful Krishna conscious things you will find in Sri Rupa Goswami's writing. He gives a very important lesson that the struggles that we experience in our generation, and each generation has its own struggles, the next generation will have their own struggles. But we should pass on the best of the elements of Krishna Bhakti to the next generation. This is what we got in inheritance from Srila Rupa Goswami. So Sri Rupa Goswami introduces Sri Padyavali through his first verse. This verse is in the meter Vasanta Tilakam, same tune as Brahma Samhita. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after me. Padyavali virachita rasikar mukunda. Sambandha bandhura pada pramador sindhu. Ramya samasta tamasandamani kramena. Sangriyate kritikadamba kautukaya. Kritikadambaka kautukaya. The figure of speech is anupras, alliteration. You can notice in the final phrase. Kritikadambaka kautukaya. The syllable ka is repeated. So poetry filled with literary ornaments. Sri Rupa Goswami says the name of my literature is Padyavali. Padya means poetry. Gadya means paragraph. So Gadya is paragraph, Padya is poetry. Avali is series. So Padya Avali, poetic series. Virachita, it has been composed. Composed by whom? Sri Rupa Goswami. Not by me. Rasikaihi, by various connoisseurs of bhakti who have appeared much before me. This shows a very important principle,
that one should always give credit wherever one derives inspiration from. Nowadays, the tendency is to hide our sources and to present it as our expertise. But Sri Rupa Goswami knows how ungrateful it is to steal somebody else's work and then to proclaim it as one's own. So Sri Rupa Goswami in the very first verses, Rasikaihi, various great devotee poets of the past have written these verses. And whenever I heard these verses, Mukunda Sambandha, all these verses were Sambandha related to Sri Mukunda, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Bandhurapada, and therefore they are very sweet verses. Pramada Urmi Sindhu, they can generate a Sindhu, an ocean of ecstatic waves of joy. Therefore I named the presentation the Joyous Waves of Sri Rupa Goswami's poetry. Ramya, this Padyavali is a lady. The term Padyavali is in feminine gender. So all the adjectives are going to be feminine. Names of ladies do not end with a short a. They end with a long a. You can see all the initiated names. None of the names will be ending with a short a. Any Vaishnavi here who has her initiated name ending with a short a? It's against the rules of Sanskrit grammar, dear devotees. Ladies get their own separate suffix in Sanskrit grammar. So, Padyavali, A, E, U are suffixes for ladies. A, short a, is the suffix for a man. For example, Prabhuji's name, Prabhu, your name is? Ekachakra. At the end, a. What is the next name? Grama. And what is the third name? Dasa. Everything ends with a short a. Right? Now let's take the Vaishnavis. You're initiated, Mataji? Yes, your name? Surya Kanya. Why it ends with an A? So special suffix has been added to your name. It's the name of Yamuna Devi. Yes. So this is Padyavali. She's a lady. Ramya. She's very beautiful. Why is she beautiful? Because there are many different meters in the different verses. And when you sing the verses, there is lots of joy to be had. I will give the meters for each and every verse that we sing today. And not only is she very beautiful and sweet, Samasta Tamasam Damani, she also has the strength, Damani, to curb Samasta Tamasam, all ignorance within the heart. Just because she is a lady, do not think of her as feeble. Damani, she is capable of suppressing all ignorance. Sangrihiyate. Kramena sangrihiyate. I am compiling this according to topic. For whom? Kautukaya, for the pleasure of Kriti Kadambaka, of hosts of various intelligent devotees like all of you. So I am compiling this Padyavali for all of you, dear devotees. You, dear devotees, are the audience for Padyavali. He wrote it for all of you. I could have spoken the Padyavali in a university in front of PhD scholars, but then they would be sitting like this. And after 1 hour of speaking Padyavali, they will say, it's okay. Very few emotions in the heart, dear devotees, those who have become dry. Of course, there are many scholars who are devotees, but most of the scholars around the world will not be able to appreciate. It needs a Vaishnava audience, like all of you. This is the translation. So, can somebody read the translation loudly? What can you read? Yes. Yes, thank you.
These verses, named Padyavali, have been created by great Rasika devotees of the past. The Padyavali is beautiful due to being directly related to Lord Mukunda. It generates waves of joyous intoxication in the ocean of happiness for the devotees. It is very sweet and it can suppress all ignorance. I, Rupa Goswami, compile it for the joy of the host of intelligent devotees.
Wonderful. So this is the purpose behind Sri Padyavali and the audience for Padyavali. The devotees are supposed to relish it. Otherwise, if a non-devotee, somebody who's a very learned scholar but a non-devotee tries to read Padyavali and they may write a PhD thesis on it. Rupa Goswami, a Hindu philosopher from the cult of Chaitanya, 500 years ago, compiled an emotional literature, Padyavali. Dear devotees, this is not the audience for Padyavali. The audience is all of you. You have inherited this literature through the Guru Parampara. Therefore, let's begin relishing Sri Padyavali. But some devotees may say, how can I relish such literature? I have not yet conquered the most formidable enemy within my heart. Dear devotees, which is the most formidable enemy within the heart? Lust. Sri Rupa Goswami within the Padyavali says, how will you conquer this enemy? Many have tried in the past, but almost everyone has failed. There is only one way of conquering this enemy. Sri Rupa Goswami takes a verse from a previous author who is unknown. The name is not known, so Sri Rupa Goswami says this verse is from an anonymous author. Sri Rupa Goswami compiles this verse in the meter Shardula Vikriditam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. I'll try to sing, please repeat after me. Kashayan cha bhojanadi niyaman no vavane vasato व्याख्यानादत वामुनि व्रत भरा चेतोद्भव क्षीयते किन्तु स्फीत कलिंद शैलतनया तीरेषु विक्रीडतो गोविन्दस्य पदारविन्द भजनारम्भस्य लेशादपि How is the most formidable enemy conquered? Sri Rupa Goswami says, first I will tell you how he is not conquered. Let me tell you how he is not conquered. Kashayan. Some people wear kashay. Kashay is saffron cloth. The sannyasis, they wear saffron cloth. And saffron cloth is called kashay. Rupa Goswami says, na. Kashayan na. It is not possible to conquer this enemy simply by wearing a saffron cloth. Some people say, Bhojanadi niyaman. I will regulate my eating because all the senses are in one line, and if you regulate the eating, then you can regulate your lust. Nacha bhojanadi niyaman. It has been tried and the formula has failed, dear devotees. No bhavane vasato. Somebody says, I don't want to have anything to do with the opposite gender. I'll go reside in a forest. Sorry. Vyakyan refers to a lecture. Let me hear the lectures of some very renounced person. No. Each and every one of you is different, with different mindsets. We all know within ourselves how much our enemy troubles us. Nobody else knows. Sri Rupa Goswami knows. Therefore he says, Vyakhyanatna. It is not possible through attending big lectures on renunciation. Athava muni vrata bharat. Somebody says, I will take mauna vrata. I will keep silent. No. Saubhari Muni tried to do. And we know what is the result. Chitta udbhavah kshiyate. The arising of lust within the heart will not be stopped like this. Then what should we do, Sri Rupa Goswami? Kintu. But, however, there is one hope. What is the hope? Sphita Kalinda Shaila Tanaya. Tanaya, there is the daughter. Daughter of whom? Kalinda Shaila, the mountain Kalinda. Who is the daughter of the mountain Kalinda? Yamuna. Therefore she is known as Kalindi. She is the daughter of Kalinda mountain. She arises from the Kalinda mountains. However, there is that Yamuna. Tireshu, on her banks, Vikridito, there is somebody sporting on her banks. Who is that person? Govindasya. That Govinda, Padaravinda, just look at his lotus feet. Bhajana, if you begin a little bit of serious bhajan on the path of Raganuga Bhakti towards this Govinda who is sporting on the banks of that Yamuna, will lust be immediately conquered. And not only beginning of such serious bhajan, Leshad, a small fraction of the beginning of such serious Raganuga bhajan towards Sri Govinda who is sporting on the banks of the Yamuna, will lust be immediately conquered. This is what Sri Rupa Goswami has concluded in the Padyavali. So I'd like you to read the translation. You have a clear voice. Kindly read the translation.
Not by wearing saffron cloth, not by restricting food and other sense activities, not by living in the forest, not by discussing philosophy, and not by observing a vow of silence, but only by even the slightest beginning of devotional service to the lotus feet of Lord Govinda, who enjoys pastimes on the Yamuna's wide banks, is Kamadev stopped.
Yes, Kamadev is Cupid. Dear devotees, only after faithfully hearing the narrations of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, that is the best way of stopping Kamadev forever. Because once a person hears all these narrations, he or she will come to know the varieties of love that are possible in Sri Krishna Leela. Sri Jiva Goswami says, Yad Amita Rasa Shastre Vyanji Vaidagdhya Vrindam. Take all the love stories that are present in the world today, all the romantic literature that is present in the world today. Which is the greatest love story in the entirety of Europe? Can anybody tell me? Romeo and Juliet. Sri Jiva Goswami says, take all the flavors of love that these romantic couples have experienced. Tad anumapina vetum kalpate kami loka. The ordinary lusty person cannot experience even a small fraction of what has been described in Romeo and Juliet. Whatever is described in the material world, Sri Jiva Goswami says all those stories of lovers and beloveds, even in the material world, a lusty person cannot experience a small fraction of what is described in the material literature. And all that material literature becomes insignificant in front of the ocean of love that is the prema of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Once a person even conceives of the varieties of love that are present between Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, they will understand there is nothing remaining in the material world. There is no hope of attaining such love in the material world at any point of time. Any point of time. And once a person is convinced of this fact, dear devotees, the quest for satisfying lust is actually a quest for satisfying the deep loneliness that a soul has within the material world. And once a soul realizes that this loneliness cannot be satisfied in the material world, the Hridaya Granthi, the knot within the heart, is broken at that particular instant. And once the asha, the hope of achieving success in romance in the material world is lost, that is the time a devotee becomes free of the desire for lust. Because the desire for lust is nothing but the desire for overcoming loneliness by finding suitable companionship. That is what material love affairs are all about. But once that hope is no longer present, then it is only then that Cupid within the heart is stopped. So this is the secret behind the verse, dear devotees. Sri Rupa Goswami says, let's go to some other topics. At one particular point of time, the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, does anybody know his name? Sri Ishwar Puri. Sri Ishwar Puri was such a devotee. He had no hopes remaining in the material world. He was very happy relishing the sweet pastimes of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. One day, somebody from the Advaita school means somebody who was an impersonalist, asked Sri Ishwar Puri, "You are a sannyasi. Why don't you meditate on Vedanta and other philosophy and try to get liberated from birth and death in this life? Why don't you attempt for liberation? We have seen you are dancing and singing like a crazy person here and there. You don't stay in one place." This is what Sri Ishwar Puri was famous for. He was not stable at one place. Always he would love to travel from one holy place to another holy place. Somebody asked him, "Why don't you stay permanently in Varanasi, in Kashi? Meditate on the Vedanta Sutras. Understand what is the impersonal Brahman and get liberated from this material world. Merge into the impersonal Brahman." Sri Ishwar Puri laughed at the proposition and said, "It's okay, I'm okay as I am." "But you have taken sannyas in Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya, Ishwar Puri." Puri is a surname of a sannyasi who has taken initiation in Sri Adi Shankaracharya Sampradaya of sannyas. So technically you should be reading Vedanta Sutras and aiming for impersonal liberation. Why are you singing like an emotional devotee? And his disciple, Ishwar Puri's disciple, was the greatest of emotional sannyasis that we have ever seen. The sannyasis at Varanasi used to make fun of him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Ishwar Puri neglected him once or twice. When he came for the third time and asked Ishwar Puri, "Why are you not meditating on that impersonal Brahman? Don't you want to get liberated?" Sri Ishwar Puri by that time had prepared a response. Sri Ishwar Puri's response is recorded in the Padyavali by Sri Rupa Goswami. Dear devotees, this is what Sri Ishwar Puri has to say. The verse is in the same meter, Shardula Vikriditam, as the previous verse. I'll sing. Please repeat after me. Yoga Shrutyupapatti Nirjana Vana Dhyanadva Sambhavita Swarajyam Pratipadya Nirbhayamami Mukta Bhavantu Dvija Swarajyam Pratipadya Nirbhayamami Mukta Bhavantu Dvija Asmakam Tu Kadamba Kunja Kuhara Pronila Dindivara Shreni Shyamal Dham Nam Jushatam Janmastu Lakshavadhi Shreni Shyamal Dham Nam Jushatam Janmastu Lakshavadhi. In the second line at the end you can see Dvija. O twice born people, O sannyasi who has come to me, asking me to read Vedanta and get liberated. There are many people like you who are following various paths to get liberated. What are these various paths? Yoga. Some people are following Ashtanga Yoga to get liberated. Shruti Upapatti. Some other individuals are reading the Shrutis, the four Vedas, to get liberated. Nirjana Vana, some have left their families and gone to the forest meditating, dhyana. Sambhavita, it is possible, Sri Ishwar Puri says, it is possible that by these processes, Swarajyam Pratipadya, they will attain that impersonal liberation. Nirbhayamami, and they will become completely fearless. Mukta bhavantu, let everybody in the world get liberated before me. Then what will you do? Asmakam tu, for us however, for myself I want something different. What do you want? Kadamba Kunja Kuhara. In that forest in Vrindavan there is a big thick group of Kadamba trees. In that group of Kadamba trees, Pronila Dindivara, there is a glowing blue lotus-like personality. He doesn't name that personality, but we know who that personality is. Shreni Shyamala Dham, he is the abode of dark beauty. Nama Jushatam, while relishing, tasting, chewing upon his names. Janmastu Lakshavadhi, may I spend millions of lives simply chewing upon the names of that particular personality. This is the desire of Sri Ishwar Puri. Let everybody in the world get liberated before me. I do not worry about liberation anymore. This is the translation.
If the twice born can achieve impersonal liberation by the practice of yoga, study of Vedas, solitary meditation in the forest, and visiting holy places, then let them become liberated in that way. As for us, we will spend hundreds of thousands of births chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, whose splendid dark bluish complexion, glowing at a distance in a grove of Kadamba trees, is like a host of radiant bluish lotus flowers.
This is what I want. Ishwar Puri, you don't want to go back to Godhead? How many of us want to go back to Godhead in this life? If I raise my hands, all of you will get confidence. Ishwar Puri, you don't want to get liberated from the material world? Next life again taking birth. And what is it? Relishing the names of Krishna. Sri Ishwar Puri is now in such a state of existence that it doesn't matter for him where he is going to stay. That is the level of prema, spontaneous love that Sri Ishwar Puri has attained. The rest of us are running behind liberation. Let me tell you a secret about myself. I came to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness because I wanted to go back home, back to Godhead. Somebody told me, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And that's what I wanted. And how will I be happy? If you chant Hare Krishna, you will go back home, back to Godhead. Then there is liberation. No more birth, old age, disease and death. And then you will live happily ever after. And ever since somebody spoke that to me, from that day onwards, within my heart, this desire to get liberated has been implanted. And since that day, this desire is giving me trouble, dear devotees. There are two desires that give immense trouble to the devotees. Please repeat after me their names. First is the desire for bhukti. Bhukti is material enjoyment. Second is the desire for mukti. The desire to get liberated and go back home, back to Godhead. These two desires give immense trouble to the devotees. This is not my conclusion. Sri Rupa Goswami himself will say in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Please repeat after me. Bhukti mukti sprihayava Pishachi hridi vartate Tavad bhakti sukhasyatra Katham abhyudayo bhaved. Spriha, you can see the term spriha in the first line. Spriha means intense desire. Two types of spriha. Bhukti spriha, mukti spriha. The desire for material enjoyment and the desire to get liberated. Yavat, as long as Pishachi hridi vartate, these two are like ghosts sitting on the heart. Like a ghost has overtaken us. As long as these two are present, tavat, till that time, bhakti sukhasya katham abhyudayo, how will the true joy of devotional service arise? Till the time, these two desires are sitting upon the heart like a witch, dear devotees. This is the translation, kindly read.
As long as the witch-like desires for bhukti, material pleasures, and mukti, liberation from matter, have their grips over the heart of a sadhaka, how can the true happiness of bhakti ever make an appearance there?
So as soon as I began my devotional service, it was out of the motivation for mukti. For example, you should chant your 16 rounds. Otherwise, what will happen, Mataji? Please tell me. If you don't chant your 16 rounds, what will happen? Oh my goodness, that's a big loss. Oh, you should follow the regulative principles. Otherwise, what will happen? No liberation. So every morning I am waking up at 4:30 because if I don't wake up, I will not be able to go back to Godhead. And every morning I am chanting my rounds because if I don't chant my rounds properly, then I will not be able to go back to Godhead. And this desire to go back to Godhead has given me so much trouble that I have died 1,000 times before my actual death. Dear devotees, it is time to say today. Will you say confidently after me? Right? I do not want to go back to Godhead. Hey, nobody repeated. Let's break that, hook which has pierced the heart. Let's remove it from the heart. Please say confidently after me. All right? In front of Sri Radha Gopinath. See, they are listening. I. You. In the footsteps of Sri Ishwar Puri. And by the instructions of Sri Rupa Goswami. Hereby declare that I renounce the desire for going back home, back to Godhead. Oh, what a relief. What now? Now my love for Krishna will be unconditional. Now if I chant my rounds, it will only be for one purpose. That will be without any conditions for attaining Krishna Prema. So please make another declaration after me. Now, henceforth, all my devotional activities will be for the sole purpose of attaining Krishna Prema. Irrespective of whether I achieve liberation or not. This is the attitude of the Gaudiya Vaishnava. Yeah. Initially you were shown the sweet sugar candy of going back home, back to Godhead. That is all right. But later you will be told that this desire is like a witch. And have you seen haunted people? If you have not seen, you can see one here. A haunted person, somebody whose soul has been overtaken by a ghost, is unable to experience any happiness. Because the ghost derives all the happiness by overtaking the body of that person. That is what a haunted person looks like. As long as we are haunted by one of the two witches. Who are the two witches? Wrong. The desire for bhukti and mukti. Mukti cannot be given a bad name, dear devotees. Mukti is very good. The desire, spriha, for bhukti and mukti. As long as that desire is ruling like a witch on our hearts, how can we ever become happy? Because a haunted person does not attain happiness. Only after the ghost goes away does a haunted person have a chance of becoming happy again. So let us try to give up this desire of attaining liberation in exchange of our devotional service. Because once we give up that desire, then the mind will say, now for what am I executing bhakti? If not going back to Godhead. then the mind will be forced to find a reason higher than that. And the reason higher than that is Shri Krishna Prem. Please memorize this reason so that you don't have to, hear it again. What is the reason? The most important reason for performing Krishna Bhakti? Krishna Prema. Every morning it is repeated anyway after the 10 offenses. Every sadhaka should carefully avoid these 10 offenses to attain the choicest goal of life. Going back to Godhead. No. Krishna Prema. The Acharyas have written, it is written everywhere in the teachings of the Acharyas. Please do not aim for liberation. Please aim for something higher than that. Krishna Prema. Because once Krishna Prema is there, you will be extremely happy wherever you are situated, in the material world or in the spiritual world, dear devotees. Alright. Now, there is another very sweet verse by an anonymous author. Sri Rupa Goswami has compiled it in Sri Padyavali. He says, this author says, take lessons from a miser. And there are various lessons that can be derived from a miser. This is the verse in the simple meter, Anushtup, which is the most common meter in the Bhagavad Gita. Please repeat after me. Vichayani vicharyani vichintyani punah punah kripanasya dhanani va tvannamani bhavantu nah. So, some sources, they say that there is an author named Sri Chiranjeev. Some sources say anonymous. In any case, Sri Rupa Goswami compiled this verse in the Padyavali. Sri Rupa Goswami here is saying there are 3 things to learn from a miser. You might have seen a miser sometime in your life. There are 3 things that a miser does. Think of the greatest miser that you have seen in your life. There are 3 things that a miser does. Please repeat after me. Vichayani. Whenever he walks on the street, his eyes are always on the street. Let me find something fallen on the street, maybe €1 or 10 euros, or if I am fortunate, 50 euros. So his eyes are always on the street trying to find money. Or if he is a businessman, his eyes are always on how to earn money, the pockets of others. So he collects money. Second thing he does, please repeat, Vicharyani. At the end of the day, Vicharyani, he meditates. How much did I collect today? He counts. And the third thing he does, Vichintyani. Every night he makes plans. Tomorrow, how will I earn more? These are the 3 things that a miser does. 3 functions of a miser. And he doesn't do it one day. Punah, every single day he thinks of this. Sri Rupa Goswami says, Kripanasya dhanani iva. Just as a miser behaves with his wealth. O Krishna, Tvan namani bhavantu nah. Let me behave with your names, with your holy name. Every day, let me search the Shastra and try to find new names of you. O Krishna, at the end of every day, let me calculate how many new names I found. And let me plan every night to find new names the next day. And like a miser, let me maintain all these names with me. O Shri Krishna, let me take these lessons from a miser. This is the translation.
O Lord, just as a miser continually collects, counts, and meditates on increasing his money, in the same way, let us continually collect, count, and meditate on increasing the chanting of your holy names.
Dear devotees, Every single day we should try to find a new name of Shri Krishna. Which is our favorite name of Shri Krishna? I will ask a few devotees. Prabhu, what is your favorite name of Shri Krishna?
Radhika Ramana.
Radhika Raman, okay. Your favorite name? Shyam Sundar. Your favorite name, Mataji? Radhika Raman. Alright. Your favorite name? Gopinath. Every single day we are supposed to count new names and not just count them, the meaning behind them. What is the meaning behind each and every name? So that we spend some time meditating upon Shri Krishna's qualities. In this way, our time will be spent in Shri Krishna Nama Smaran, remembering the names of Shri Krishna. There is Nama Japa, chanting the names. There is Nama Smaran, meditating upon the inner meanings of those names. So this is a verse glorifying Nama Smaran, meditating on the meanings of the names of Bhagavan. Dear devotees, the Padyavali will get more intense from this point onwards. Now we will start getting into the direct pastimes of Bhagavan, dear devotees. Gradually the Padyavali gets more and more intense. Let's begin with the pastimes of Bhagavan Vishnu. Bhagavan Vishnu is very merciful towards his devotees. Sri Rupa Goswami compiles a verse about the haste of Bhagavan. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai. This verse is in a very special meter and it describes the pastime of Gajendra, which is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This verse is in the meter Prithvi. It's a very special meter. I'll try to sing it. Please repeat it after me. Atandrita jamupati brahita hastamasvikrita. Atandrita jamupati brahita hastamasvikrita. Pranita mani padukam kimiti vismritantah puram. Pranita mani padukam kimiti vismritantah puram. Avahana parishkriyam badagarajamarohata. Avahana parishkriyam badagarajamarohata. Kari pravara brahmite bhagavadasvarayai namah. This meter is Prithvi. Some of you might have heard the famous Chaitanya Charitamrita verse. Anarbhita jarin chirat karunayavatirna kalau. Same meter, Prithvi. So, in this verse, the author is Sri Dakshinatya, a Vaishnava from southern part of India. His name is not known. This particular Vaishnava says, O Lord, I remember that time when Gajendra called out to you. Something happened suddenly as soon as Gajendra called out to you. What happened? Our Lord was in Vaikuntha. Bhagavan Vishnu was in Vaikuntha. But as soon as he heard Gajendra call out, something happened. Atandrita Chamupati. Bhagavan started running from his throne. Suddenly, in the middle of Vaikuntha, Bhagavan got up and started running. When that happened, everybody was surprised. But there was one person who was prepared. And who was that? The commander of Sri Bhagavan, Daruka. He was ready. He extended his hand towards Bhagavan. Please come, I will take you quickly on the chariot. Hastam asvikrita. Bhagavan rejected his hand at that point of time. Pranita mani padukam. His footwear, jeweled footwear, was outside the gates of his palace. But Vismritantaha Puram, he forgot it. And Avahana Parishkriya, there was Garuda sitting there, and Garuda was waiting that he will climb upon me. And he climbed, but before climbing, he has to dust off the leaves. Without dusting off any leaves, Bhagwan quickly jumped on Garuda and very quickly came. Why? Kari pravara brahmite. Because the king of elephants was loudly crying out, Bhagavatah, O Lord, Tvarayai Namaha. I offer my obeisances unto your hasteful nature, which you displayed at this point of time. Dear devotees, obeisances unto whom? Hasteful nature of Bhagavan. Another poet is waiting in the background. He is noting down all these things. I will introduce him later. But please note, Bhagavan acted in great haste in protecting Gajendra. This is the translation of the verse.
Not accepting the jeweled footwear offered to him by his alert commander, he forgot all about his servants staying in his palace in Vaikuntha. Without putting a seat on Garuda, he quickly climbed on him without footwear as he rushed to save Gajendra. All this happened when Gajendra called out piteously to him. All glories to the haste, Tvara, of the Lord.
So this is the merciful nature of Bhagavan towards devotees who have surrendered unconditionally. Gajendra fought for many years conditionally. Finally, Gajendra surrendered unconditionally, dropped all the conditions and surrendered unconditionally. And this is when Bhagavan came running to him. Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami says, there is another example of the haste of Bhagavan. And this example is very sweet. Dear devotees, this verse is in the meter Malini. I'll try to sing. We will break each line into two parts. Please repeat after me. Tamasira viribodhyam Majjatama plavanam Plava iva trishitanam Svaduvarshiva megha Nidhiriva nidhananam Tivra dukkhamayanam Bhishagiva kushalam no Dadumayati shaurihi. This verse has been composed by none other than Sri Vyasadeva himself. Dear devotees, let us paint a new painting on the canvases of our hearts. In the Mahabharata, the Pandavas lost everything in the gambling match. Everything. And after they lost everything, Draupadi was disrobed in the assembly of the Kauravas. She was humiliated in that assembly, dear devotees, and nobody could come to protect her except for one person. Who was it? Sri Krishna. Dear devotees, after Draupadi was protected not by Bhishma, not by Dronacharya, not by Kripacharya, not by these various learned people, but by Krishna, she then threatened to curse everybody in the Kaurava assembly. At that point of time, Gandhari, the mother of Duryodhan, came and stopped her from cursing everybody. Duryodhan's heart was still not at peace. Gandhari made Duryodhan return everything that he had won in the gambling match. Duryodhan became very anxious, and in a few days he threatened his father Dhritarashtra, if you do not arrange another gambling match, I will commit suicide. So a second gambling match was arranged, and Yudhishthir accepted the invitation of the second gambling match. Of course, he would not put Draupadi this time on stake. But the entire kingdom, Indraprasth, was put on stake. And Shakuni, the crooked dice playing agent of Duryodhan, he played the dice and Yudhishthir lost again. They had to go to the forest for 12 years. And another additional 13th year incognito they would have to reside. When they went to the forest, Draupadi went silently with them. But Duryodhan was still not satisfied. He was so envious that he would frequently camp near the place where they were staying in the forest, and then he would cook deer meat so that the aroma of deer meat reaches the Pandavas, and then they can come to know that these people are enjoying the luxuries of royalty while you are suffering in the forest. Another time Duryodhan arranged something very sinister. He invited the sage Durvasa, who was famous for his cursing, and he fed him very nicely. When Durvasa was happy, he told Durvasa Muni asked, "What do you want?" Duryodhan, "I'm happy." So Duryodhan said, "I just want one thing. I have heard that Yudhishthir is very charitable. Right now he is staying in the forest. I would like you to go with your 40,000 disciples and get a taste of the hospitality of Yudhishthir." Now Yudhishthir had an Akshay Patra, a vessel which could generate unlimited amounts of foodstuffs, but only till the noon. As after noon, it would not produce any foodstuffs. Durvasa Muni was given he chose a time after noon, and Yudhishthir Maharaj was informed by a disciple of Durvasa Muni that Durvasa Muni is coming after having heard of your wonderful hospitality. He is coming with his 40,000 disciples to take lunch with you. At that point of time, Yudhishthir Maharaj knew that my misfortune has begun, because now it will not be 12 years of forest stay and 1 year incognito. Now it will be much more. At that point of time, Yudhishthir was sitting with his hand on his head. All the Pandavas were sitting with their hands on their heads. Draupadi at that point of time was looking in the distance on the path which came from the city. Dear devotees, at that point of time Draupadi saw dust rising from the distance. And when she saw the dust rising from the distance, she uttered this particular verse. Tamasi Ravir Ivo Udyan. In the middle of the night, Tamasi, the sun does not arise. Has it ever happened, dear devotees, that in the middle of the night the sun arises? For me today, in the middle of the night the sun will arise. Majjatam aplavanam. If somebody is drowning in an ocean, in the middle of the ocean, boats don't fall from the sky. Do boats fall from the sky? But for me, who is today drowning in an ocean of suffering, it is as if boats have dropped from the sky. Trishitanam, a person who is walking in a big desert and he is suffering from thirst. It doesn't suddenly happen that a cloud suddenly rains only upon that person. Does it ever happen, dear devotees? No. But for me, it is going to happen today. Nidhiriva nidhananam. A poor person suddenly does not discover the treasures of a castle. But for me, I am that poor person who is going to discover a treasure as big as to be found in a castle. Tivra dukkha mayanam. And a person who is about to die from a chronic disease usually is not able to find a doctor at the final moment to revive them. But today, I feel like a person who is about to die, but just before death, found that perfect doctor who cured me from a most terrible disease. Why? How have these impossibilities occurred in your life? Because I know from the dust of that chariot. Kushalam no datum, that in order to give benefit to us, ayati shauri, shauri is coming from that direction. So she saw, and in a few minutes, Sri Krishna was sitting with them. This, dear devotees, is the merciful Tvara, the hasteful mercy of Sri Krishna. It was not given to Yudhishthir, who lost everything in the gambling match, not given to Bhima. It was only given to one personality. And who was that? Draupadi. This is Bhagavan's mercy upon Draupadi. This is the translation.
Lord Shauri, Krishna, who is like a sun rising in the darkness, like a boat to the drowning, like a rain cloud full of sweet water to those dying of thirst, like fabulous wealth to the poverty-stricken, and like an infallible physician to those afflicted with the most painful disease, has come to grant auspiciousness to us.
This was as soon as she saw the dust rising from the distance. She did not need a confirmation because she has prior experience. This prior experience is not with Yudhishthir. They were beating their heads when they lost everything in the gambling match, but Krishna did not come to save them at that point of time. Krishna only saved one personality who had nothing to do with the gambling match, dear devotees, who had no fault in the entire gambling match and who had surrendered unconditionally. It was Draupadi. So this is the Tvara, the hasteful nature of Sri Krishna. If some of you are feeling a slight emotion in your heart, Sri Rupa Goswami has successfully managed to evoke a ras within you. This is called Karun Ras, the mellow of piteousness has been awakened in your heart, Karun Ras. So if some of you are feeling a little moved and emotional, this is because of Sri Rupa Goswami's expertise in bringing out the ras. This was the purpose for which Padyavali was composed, so that all of you experience a varieties of rasas. Let's switch the ras. We don't want to end on this note. Somebody is waiting in the background and he has noted these two cases. Which two cases, dear devotees? Of hasteful nature. Which two cases? Gajendra, Draupadi. Sri Rupa Goswami says, now comes a devotee from Utkaladesh, Orissa, and he is about to make a very sarcastic remark. Dear devotees, how many of us have come in front of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath and made a sarcastic remark? Would you like to learn a sarcastic remark, a bona fide sarcastic remark that can be made to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath? Yes? So that next time you come, you can, have a more spontaneous relationship with them. So this particular author says, please repeat after me. Ya Draupadi paritrane Ya Gajendrasya mokshane Mayyarte karunamurte Satvara kvagata hare. Shri Autkal says, Ya Draupadi paritrane, oh Lord, I heard of that wonderful haste that you displayed when Draupadi was suffering. Not once but twice. Ya Gajendrasya mokshane, and now I also heard about that sweet haste that you displayed when Gajendra called out to you. Mai arte, now Bhagavan, I am suffering. Karuna Murte, oh ocean of compassion, now that I am suffering, Satvara Kvagata, where has that hasteful nature gone away? It seems to have taken a long vacation in my case. So this is the translation.
O Lord, you displayed great haste in rescuing Draupadi and in liberating Gajendra when they cried out to you. Dear Karuna Murti, ocean of mercy, what happened to that haste when I am in distress? It seems to have taken a long vacation.
Yeah. That brackets is my addition, alright? Commentary on the verse. Arey, when I am suffering, where are you? When I need you the most, where are you? Radha Gopinath, who is right here. So, Satvara Kvagata Hare. I suffered so much in my life, Radha Gopinath. Complete failure in the material world. And then, after becoming a devotee, I was rejected by society. And then I suffered so much. And all of us have suffered similarly in so many ways. Some have suffered in relationships. Some have suffered financially. And many of us have called Bhagavan. But Satvara Kvagata Hare. Where has Bhagavan's hasteful nature gone away? Obviously, Bhagavan's hasteful nature is waiting for us to become unconditional. That is where she is waiting, dear devotees. So, dear devotees, we will pause the first session. I hope all of you like some of the joyous waves of Sri Rupa Goswami's poetry. Next session onwards, we will get deeper into the direct pastimes of Shri Krishna in Vrindavan, because that is where the Padyavali wants to take us. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki yadatra skhalitam kinchit vidvamsah purayantu tat yadatra saushthavam kinchit tat guroreva mene. If there are any mistakes in what I spoke, you're all learned devotees, please correct what I said. But if there's anything nice, please understand tat guroreva. It belongs to my Gurujanas, Sri Rupa Goswami. And Sri Rupa Goswami says it belongs to previous devotees. So certainly, may nahi, it is not belonging to me. Thank you very much once again, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. So probably the time is over, right? Or can we have Q&A or later?
Let's have some Q&A.
Alright, so let's have some Q&A. Question and answers, if somebody wants to ask questions, now is the time. Okay. Ek sector. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so very much. Your first small addition, if I may. Like yesterday you said that those who are very fortunate, they come in contact with bhakti. So it's very easy to start bhakti, but it's very difficult to reach the other end of the tunnel. So I would say, yes, we are very fortunate to have received this seed of bhakti. And I think we are even much more fortunate to have this Krishna Katha and to relish, to deepen our devotion to Krishna. So thank you very much for making us more fortunate than we already are. I have one question. When we talk about these pastimes and these waves of joy, it's so many emotions go through the mind and the system of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he's relishing it. So I'm always a bit confused. In the Mahabharata, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is predicted in this Suvarna Varna Himango verse, and the word Shanti is used 2 times to indicate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when I think about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's like an explosion of emotions. So why is he predicted in Mahabharata in a way that seems that he's very Shanti and very peaceful? He's not a peaceful personality. So maybe you can explain a little bit. Because
in the Mahabharata, there is Vishnu Sahasranam, in which one of the names is Suvarna Varna Hemango Varangas Chandanaya. And there is Shanti Parayana, that is the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned. Shanti Parayana means one who is exclusively dedicated to peacefulness. His external appearance is very peaceful. See Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in public. He is very peaceful person. He will not let his emotions take the better of him. But see him in Gambhira, and you have a different person altogether. In Gambhira, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a different person. And therefore everybody is not allowed in Gambhira. What is shown in the Mahabharata is the public profile of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shanti Parayana. At Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya's home, there was a quarrel. His son-in-law did not like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya was fed up of his son-in-law. And at one point of time, there was a quarrel at Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya's home. And Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya became so angry. He said, better my daughter, her name was Shaki, better she becomes a widow. And then when his son-in-law heard this, there was a big quarrel. And there was a loud commotion at his home. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there, he pacified everybody. What is happening? Please everybody calm down. And then after everybody had calmed down, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started laughing. Because he knows this is how households are. There's always usually some quarrel going on in household life. Prabhupada used to compare it to the thundering of clouds. A lot of noise but no output in the end, no result in the end. So this is what household life is like. But see householders when they are in public, how they behave, how the aura of decency that they portray. And see them in their homes when they are alone, husbands and wives. They are different people when they are alone. Their claws are out, And in public life they are sophisticated, polished individuals. So the external profile of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is different. And the inner heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is different. It cannot be revealed in a general text like Mahabharata. So that is what we see in the Mahabharata. Thank you.
I had a few questions, but I picked 2 questions. One's technical and one's controversial, I think, a little. The technical question, I'm a little I mean, I've attempted to read Padyavali before and not got very far because of obvious lack of adhikari. But when you say, Rupa Goswami, the meters, and you're introducing us and making us sing to the meters, if it's a compilation, if he's taking other people's verses, are the meters his aspect or the original what is he taking from the authors if the meters are Rupa Goswami's metering? Or is that the original metering and he's literally just copy and pasting? Or is he adding the meters to someone else's verse?
Okay.
How is it working like that?
Metrics or meters in Sanskrit is mathematics. It is fixed at the time when you decide to compose the verse. So the meters have been decided by the original authors. The meters don't change. It is plain mathematics. I will give you a very small sample of a small example, so it is easy for everybody to understand. There are two types of syllables, short and long. What are the two types of syllables? Short and long. Short is known as laghu. What is short known as? Long is known as guru. Right? Short requires one eye blink of time. Alright? Look at me. I. O. All the vowels, short vowels, require how many eye blinks of time? One. Laghu. Long guru vowels require two eye blinks of time. Please look at me. A. E. This is guru. The acharyas who wrote Sanskrit prosody metrics made it so easy that everybody can measure it on their own. Laghu and guru. Let's call laghu as la. What should we call laghu as? La. Short form, la. Let's call guru as gu. Short form, gu. Alright? So the meter is Vasanta Tilakam, Brahma Samhita. Please hear carefully. Gu gu lagu la la lagu la lagu lagu gu. Alright? Or Shardula Vikritam. Gu 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 la lagu lagu la la lagu gu gu lagu gu lagu. Same pattern on 4 lines. It's mathematics. Once you understand what is a laghu syllable, what is a guru syllable, then you can. And that there is a pattern for every meter. That pattern is repeated on the 4 lines. It is given a name. And the name of the meter should fit within the meter. Shardula Vikriditam or Shikharini. All these names should fit in the meter. So that condition has also been put by the Acharya who originally made the sutras for meters. His name is Pingal Acharya. He is the Acharya for Chanda. Chanda is one of the 6 limbs of the Vedas, and these meters are decided by the author because there is a fixed pattern of laghu and guru syllables that the author has decided. But for every meter, there can be various tunes for singing. I hope you are able to understand. Like, first verse of the Bhagavatam is Shardul Vikriditam. First verse of the Bhagavatam. Janmadyasya yatonvayadi taratas chatheshvabhigya swarat. Same meter, Shardul Vikriditam. Another way. Janmadyasya yatonvayadi taratas chatheshvabhigya swarat tene brahmaridaya adikavaye muyanti yasuraya. Multiple tunes for same meter. The specialization of Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, the Goswami about whom we know the least, is that he could sing every meter in 3 or 4 different ways. That was his specialization. So that is the answer to it. I hope that answers your technical query. Alright, now let's get to the controversial question.
I once got in a little trouble with the devotees for saying that I went looking for this famous statement in ISKCON that we make very, very, because like a Mahavakya for ISKCON. Chant and be happy. So I said, okay, let me go looking for that in Prabhupada's usage. And I found one usage. So then I decided, maybe my crazy speculation, that have we overused this expression? Are we saying, yes, chant and be happy, be happy? Because when you were explaining then that the witches, this, dare I say it, I do not want to go back to Godhead, is the real reality chant and suffer for Krishna, and chanting can be anxiety for Krishna, and chant and like feel emotions that are, the fact that I want to be happy is still about me. Is that something I have to move away from, or am I misunderstanding such a famous statement?
Chant and be happy. I gave an entire presentation on this phrase, chant and be happy. The biggest term in this entire phrase is and, because the and keeps getting bigger and bigger. Chant and come in devotee association and follow the rules and regulations and be dedicated and have a fixed seva and overcome your anarthas and develop nishtha and develop ruchi and develop bhava and develop prema, and then maybe you have a chance of being happy.
It's not so catchy, bro.
Yeah. All of us experience some, some emotion of karundras, some piteousness within our heart. It is not it is not a positive emotion. When we were discussing the verse on Draupadi, I would like to ask all of you, did you feel the verse on Draupadi that Sri Vyasadeva had composed? Yes. Was it suffering or enjoyment? You see? That is what I was saying yesterday. Suffering is the greatest enjoyment on this path. There is no material suffering on this path. Was what we experienced, was it material suffering? The emotion, for some time we empathized with Draupadi. Yes or no? Yes. When we were empathizing with Draupadi, were we feeling material suffering? No. This part of the class, this precise part of the class, where we empathized with Draupadi and felt that suffering of her, was bhakti. That scholarship is not bhakti. The presentation of the breaking down of the words may not have so much bhakti. But that precise part where you empathized with a particular associate of Sri Krishna, that was bhakti. And it was not suffering. How many of us would like to take more such suffering? How many of us would like to cry more? Raise your hands. How many of us would like to laugh more like we laughed on the last verse? So, an entire host, an entire ocean of emotions is about to come in the Padyavali. So please prepare your heart, brace yourselves. It's nothing like the emotions you've experienced till now. And once you go through these emotions and you come on the other side, you will come to know that the material world has nothing to offer. Absolutely nothing to offer to us in comparison with what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to offer to us. And once that conviction sets in, Param Drishtva Nivartate, that is what Bhagavad Gita said. Does anybody know the entire verse? Niraharasya dehina Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. I will explain that verse. Vishaya vinivartante. Externally, sense enjoyment may go away if you try to, curb it. Niraharasya dehina. You starve your body of sense gratification, it may go away temporarily. But rasa varja, but the rasa for sense gratification doesn't go away. The taste for sense gratification doesn't go away. But rasopi asya, but even the taste goes away. When does it go away? Param drishtva. When one sees a higher what? Param rasam drishtva nivartate. The lower rasa goes away on seeing param rasam. Param rasam drishtva, on higher taste, on seeing higher rasa. The lower rasa is immediately defeated. And 100% guarantee, take it on legal paper, there are higher tastes in the writings of the Goswamis. You can make me sign a bond of any amount. Show me any literature in the world that has the range of emotions that are portrayed in the literature of the Goswamis. I'm willing to, lose any amount of money. You will not find anywhere. So I hope that answers your query. Thank you. Do we have time for more, or should we pause here?
It's very difficult for me to say.
Because you have to say stuff. I am happy, as long as devotees are asking queries, but you should say them.
I think we can continue for 10 more minutes.
All right. I'm happy now. I got 10 more minutes. Anybody wants to ask?
One more question.
Yes, Prabhu.
I don't want to be, if there are other questions, I'm willing to drop my question.
Yeah. Is anybody else want to ask anything? Or if anybody has some seva they have to go to, please do not hesitate to go for your seva. But if anybody you want to listen to the Q&A, please, most welcome to stay. Yes. All right, Prabhu, you can ask.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So, when devotees bring up this doubt that should we really go into this deeper pastimes of Radha and Krishna, etc., could we quote this verse from the 10th canto, the beginning, Nivritta Tarshero Pagiyamana, where it said that for those who are liberated, they taste it, and for those who are conditioned, it's the medicine? Because for me, that's a very strong argument, saying that it doesn't matter if you're conditioned or liberated. You should just indulge yourself in hearing, in the association of other devotees, and then go deeper and deeper in Krishna's pastimes, and then you forget about the material pastimes. So, could we use that verse as one of the proofs?
Yeah, that was what the process was all about. The entire process was all about bringing you to this point where you realize that actually this is it. Nivritta tarshay rupagiyamana bhavaushadachrotra manobhiramat ka uttama shloka gunanuvada puman virajyeta vina pashuhnat. Only somebody who wants to kill one's own self will restrict oneself from this process. Are we the killers of the selves? No. So we will not restrict ourselves from hearing the wonderful descriptions of Sri Krishna under the expert guidance of devotees who know the tattva, who can explain what is the tattva behind it. Beginning with the fact that Krishna's body is not material, is not made out of 7 material elements: skin, flesh, blood, fat, bone, marrow and semen are the 7 constitutional elements of a material body. Sri Krishna's body is not made out of any of these 7 elements. And thus Krishna's pastimes are categorically on a different level than any affairs of the material world. So this is the first tattva that is imparted to a person who wants to understand. Once this is understood, gradually there is a very nice commentator on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. His name is Sri Srila. Srila Prabhupada named a disciple after him. He commented upon the 10th canto. He got one darshan of Sri Krishna, and Krishna asked him to compose a commentary. In Damodar Leela, we have all heard that the milk starts boiling because the milk wanted to commit. Who gave that realization? Yeah, Sri Harisuri is the one who gave that realization. Prabhupada's disciple was named after the original Sri Harishwar in the 19th century. One of the final Sanskrit commentators on the 10th canto. He wrote a verse on this Nivritta Tarshai Rupagiya Manat. I will sing that verse and I will conclude with this verse. Yatashasya nayat priyam bhavati tat syat kami loka priyam yadvastvasya na saukhya shaili bhavati preshtham cha tad yogina satyevam yadihavatar charite प्रीतिर्द्वयोरुत्कटा हेतुस्तत्र तथा चरित्र सरणे नारायणीति स्फुटम् याताशस्य न यत् प्रियम. There is something which a yogi does not like. What does a yogi not like? He does not like to hear talks about girlfriends and boyfriends and romantic affairs in the world. What the yogi does not like? Tat syat kami lokapriyam. The lusty person likes very much. Yad vastvasya na saukhya shali bhavati. On the other hand, on one side of the society is the yogi who does not like romantic affairs but likes to hear, talks about the absolute truth. On the other hand is the lusty person who does not like to hear talks on the absolute truth but is thrilled by the talks of romance between girls and boys. Sri Harishwari says, Satyevam. Now see the magic. Yadihavatara charite. In this 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, two opposite people from the extreme ends of society are brought in one place. And both of them are bestowed the highest benefit in life. Pritir, Shri Krishna Prem. Hetustatra tatha charitra sarani narayani. This is only the glory of one literature in the world, dear devotees, Srimad Bhagavatam. Non-different from Shri Krishna. It is Shri Krishna in the form of Bhagavatam that brought these two people on the opposite ends of the society in one place and bestowed the highest benefit upon both of them without consideration of qualification. This is the opinion of the previous acharyas. Hear Katha faithfully, but please don't stay away from it. Rupa Goswami has given a warning in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This warning is often not repeated. And this warning is not given because often renunciation is highlighted in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. No, in the talks of the devotees. But in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami has given a very strict warning about staying away from such discussions. And this is what Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.5.2. This is the final verse, then we'll pause for today. Please repeat after me. Nivrittanupayogitva duruhatvadayam rasah. Ayam rasah. He is speaking about this Madhurya ras. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he will describe 4 rasas in great detail. Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya. But he will not describe one ras in great detail. Which rasa? Madhurya. Why not in great detail? Ayam rasaha. This rasa, Madhurya rasa, Nivritta anupayogitva. Nivritta, you know what is the meaning of Nivritta from Nivritta Tarshair? Anupayogitva. It is useless for the renunciate. It is useless for somebody who is over-renounced. Why is it useless for somebody who is over-renounced? Sri Jiva Goswami explains in the commentary. Nivritteshu, those who are too renounced. Prakrita Shringara Rasa Samadrishtya. Anywhere they hear of love affairs, they start thinking in material terms. Bhagavatadapi asmad rasad virakteshu. Even when love affairs are described in the Bhagavatam, they run away from it thinking that it is material love affairs. So they have become so renounced that they have run away even from the descriptions of love found in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. These people have become completely ineligible for experiencing Ayam Rasa, this Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. So warning has been given against over-renunciation in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we should not forever stay away. But if while hearing these pastimes the material senses are getting agitated, then better to pause for some time and hear from a senior Vaishnava who can explain in a sober manner. So that is what can be said. Alright, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
It's nice that you are interested in also the glorification of the audience, because then you can hear when sages are coming to you and ask some questions and congratulate them. Perhaps for after the questions, congratulate them. So it's very nice to have like a little bit. You also always start evil, respecting your own.
She said, I spoke you spoke yesterday about round robin. Did you do
Huh? Round robin?
Yes, because it is